Hi, Alan Petersen with Headshots in Scottsdale. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, Nicole, first of all, I really appreciate you being here, this wonderful experience. So I am a headshot photographer located here in Scottsdale, and I primarily help business people, actors and actresses develop their professional brand. Now this gentleman, he owns a very successful marketing business in Anthem, Arizona. The idea of this image was to capture a sense of power and confidence and knowledge. And the idea here is to create an image that says, if you can't get what you want with me, you won't find it anywhere. And that's the image that we're trying to project out there using his Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms.
With working with headshots and that whole thing for professionals, are there any certain industries that you work with specifically, or any headshots?
Well, just about any, but I work with realtors quite often. They're very connected with good images of themselves. That's why sometimes you see realtors on billboards. So I work with them, and then really office and professionals at every level, attorneys, accountants, doctors. I've done some pilots as well, but it's really a broad range. Almost everybody has an image somewhere, be it in social media, on their business card, in print media, and so forth.
Yeah, I can see for the actresses and actors, it's all about the personality and making them feel comfortable. What are some of your tips and tricks when you're taking those types of photos to get that out of your subject?
Well, I first of all want them to be very well rested before the scene, and I typically have a pre-session telephone consult before they arrive here, so we talk about what they're going to wear. Now when it comes to actors and actresses, they often have a niche of their own, and so we want to know what that is and adjust for that. So if I have a comedian, they're going to have a different approach and different poses.
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like collaboration there with, trying to get that out of them. You mentioned that you have a consultation. Can you go a little bit more into, what you talk about and, how you prepare them for their phone?
There's a pretty long list of that. For example, if it's a guy, a gentleman, we don't want them to shave, for example, right before they come here, because that can often show up as an irritation in the face. We don't want them to have a haircut the day before, because that'll often show up. Some of the most important things is that their clothes is absolutely pressed and wrinkle-free, because that will show up in the images quite clearly. So I always recommend they bring their clothes to the session on a hanger to prevent any wrinkling, and especially in the summertime here in Phoenix when it's really hot.
Yeah, for sure. So that's some of the stuff for the gentlemen. What are some tips for the ladies?
Well, probably the most important thing is, and I call it foo-foo, don't wear any foo-foo. And by that I mean, I had a client come with a large fabric flower. What we don't want to do is wear anything that takes away from the person. The focus is always on the person, then the face, and then the eyes. So clothing should be simple, basic colors, jewelry should be minimal, as well as makeup should be minimal.
That's great. So you have your pre-consultation, they come in, how does the process start when they enter the door?
When they enter the door, and I've typically spoken to them about what kind of work they do, because that can affect the kind of shots that we might get. But normally we'll sit down and we'll go through what they're going to use that image for. I want to know what people wear where they work. There's a lot of difference between an image that's for, say, a contract attorney or somebody who's a stand-up comedian at a club downtown. So we'll kind of go over that again, and I'll tell them that the first few shots are just test shots, and that'll usually relax them. I said, you don't have to do anything, just stand there. And we'll do those test shots and get all the settings sharpened in.
So, they start taking the photos and that whole bit. I mean, how many photos do you think you normally take in a session?
Well, I'll normally take somewhere between 80 and 110 images. And that's not that the client's going to get all of those, but that guards us against things like closed eyes or one eye closed or just a bad posture. So we'll get about, between 80, 110, around there.
That's a lot of pictures.
It is. Now those will be culled down into the best of the best. I will typically give a client somewhere between 8 and 12 distinctly different images. And then each one of those images will have typically 4 different crop factors. So they're getting quite a large package. In fact, the toughest thing the client will have to do is choose which one they like the best.
That's great.
And I don't send them anything they won't like.
So what inspired you to get into photography?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but years ago I worked for a home health agency. I really had no idea what I was going to do there. It's a new job, and this is probably 15 years ago. And so on the first day I asked the boss, who was the owner, I said, how do I do this? I was a marketer for them. And they said, well, go buy a tray of cookies and bring it to a nursing home and make friends with the activity director. So I did that. So I walked in on a Monday morning with a big tray of cookies, and they just loved it. And they said, Alan, please just set them over there on that table with your 4 other competitors today who have already brought cookies to the event. So I had to come up with something different. And ultimately, I came up with the idea of doing senior citizen glamour photography. And I'm telling you, they absolutely loved it. It's one of the most touching things that I've ever done in my life. So we'd set a date for this event, and wheelchairs would be coming out of everywhere. And before that, I purchased a complete portable photo studio to do it. And then I would come back a few weeks later with 4x6 color prints. We'd all get together again, spread them across the table. Everybody would be trading their pictures back and forth. They would have ones to give to their family and so forth. And it wasn't that odd when I came in the next time that a lady would say, oh, son, a lot of these folks don't get a lot of visitors. So I did about 30 events that first year. Absolutely loved it.
That's amazing. It's a great opportunity to give back.
Sure, and that's where I learned how to do editing, because a lot of these folks had cancer sores and other issues, and I learned how to minimize them or get rid of them altogether.
That's amazing, a great skill to have in photography. So, when you are going to networking events and introducing yourself as the owner of Headshots in Scottsdale, how do you, sell yourself? Why should people come to Headshots in Scottsdale?
Well, I produce to start off with, a consistently solid project at a very fair price. And I just go over the package that I have and what I do for the monies paid. A lot of photographers, while they're good, they charge for every little thing.
Yeah, a lot of add-ons and
A
additional.
lot of add-ons, like editing is extra, and it can be $50, $20 a photograph. And I include all of that in my session fee.
So, in, the networking group and, trying to introduce yourself, I heard you have a funny story about being mistaken for something else. So I'd love for you to share.
Yeah, I love networking groups for one. So I was at this one networking group, and as you might know, everybody does a little 30-second elevator speech. And when it came to me, I said that I was a headshot photographer, where I was located and what I do. And then at the very end of this, somebody said, I'm kind of confused. Exactly what is a hedgehog photographer? That was hilarious, and everybody laughed. Said, no, headshot, not hedgehog.
Of course. So, obviously there's more to Alan than just photography. Can you tell us a little bit about your passions outside of work?
I love Phoenix, and my wife and I love traveling on the weekends and going and seeing all the things to do here, not only in the Phoenix Valley, but north of us. There's just some absolutely amazing locations. So a little bit of travel, get out on the road, out of the office, out of the studio.
So when people are considering getting headshots from you, what should they know about choosing you and working with you over working with another photographer?
Sure, well, I am Google 5.0 rated, as well as on the Bark platform. And I have over 100 reviews that are 5.0. And so I think that says a lot about the quality somebody puts out. And it's very important to me. I want every client to feel or to become a raving supporter, a raving customer.
That's great. Is there anything else that you want us to know about Alan, about headshots in Scottsdale, about your love of the camera?
Every professional management person or business person thinks about customer service, and there's so many definitions of it. And for me, it's a concept I learned many years ago from a process called Tanpenkanri. It's a Japanese philosophy of customer service. And what it involves is something real simple. Missed opportunities. Don't ever have a missed opportunity. And if that means going downstairs and helping somebody bring their clothes up, or helping them bring it back, or getting them something refreshing to drink, or whatever it takes, I don't miss opportunities. And I take full advantage of that to provide customer service.
That's great. So how does someone contact you to book an appointment to get the process started?
Well, they can call me directly at any time, by the way, at 602-619-9366. You can call me on weekends if you want. And you can visit my website at headshotsinScottsdale.com, or you can email me at alan@headshotsinScottsdale.com.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.